Tonight we welcome the keynote speaker for the evening, Barry McCarthy at First Data. Barry handles the company's financial institution business. That's P&L responsibility approaching $4 billion. Just to put that into perspective, that's the size of Chick-fil-A. It involves 4,200 financial institutions, 3 million retail locations, and 600 million consumers. In prior roles at First Data, Barry established joint ventures in Asia and established its mobile and social commerce business. Quick background on Barry. After he earned his master's at Northwestern, he started at P&G selling deodorant to grocery stores. I know more about cosmetics and hair care than any man should know. After a dozen years, he transitioned to banking with Wells Fargo, where he oversaw conversion of their ATMs from green screen to full color and motion. Dot-com explosion hits in the late 90s. He takes a turn as an entrepreneur, leads a micro-payments company called MagnaCash, and unlike some of us in the room, sold before it hit bottom. He spent time with VeriSign and now First Data, which when he joined it was based in Denver. Barry says he proves the old adage that all experiences contribute to who you are is indeed true. What he learned about consumer behavior, selling health and beauty aids for P&G, serves him well as First Data's products interact with consumers. He was named Atlanta Telecom Professional of the Year in 2010 for his focus on mobile commerce. Please welcome our keynote for the evening, First Data's Barry McCarthy.
All right, so you guys know an awful lot about me right now, and I got to tell you, the funniest thing I think I heard him describe is that I know a lot about shampoo. Goes without saying. Anyway, I'm here to talk to you tonight about what's going on in the rapidly exploding arena of mobile and social commerce. But before I get into that, I thought I'd give you just a thumbnail sketch of what First Data is about. I suspect that if I polled all of you, 90% or more of you to have no idea who the First Data company is. The truth is, you probably use the First Data company every day of your life. First Data is behind 50% of all the electronic payment transactions in the world. If you ever pay your taxes to the U.S. government and the IRS, we process $2 trillion, that would be two with a capital T, dollars on behalf of the U.S. government, and about another $2 trillion a year in credit card payments. If you have a credit card in your wallet, it may say Wells Fargo on it, it might say Citibank, it might say SunTrust, it might say PNC on it, but that card was made by First Data. We put the secure information on the back magnetic stripe of the card, we punched your name on the front of it, we mailed it to you. When you call the number on the back of the card, we answer the phone, hello PNC, or hello Wells Fargo. Every time you use that card at a point-of-sale device, there are about 7 million of them in the United States today, we process and manage about 5 million of the 7 million. So we are the infrastructure that really allows electronic transactions, not only in the United States, but globally to actually operate and happen. So it may be, your first question may have been, what is some payment guy? I've never heard of this company. What does he know? What are they doing? What? First Data, maybe more than anybody, has an incredibly vested interest in understanding consumer behavior as it relates to mobile and social commerce. Because everything that you do today that comes out of your hip pocket is going to come out of your front pocket and your mobile device coming really, really soon. So let me walk you through really quickly a couple more just fun things about First Data, then I'll get to sort of the heart of the matter. I told you a little bit about this, but we understate, we do about $4 trillion a year in total transactions. I don't need to read the numbers to you. We're about a $10 billion revenue company. We moved from Denver to Atlanta about 3 years ago, and Tina couldn't have told the story better about why First Data chose to be in Atlanta. We identified as a company strategically where should our headquarters be as a growth enterprise in the fintech world. If you do your homework, it's Atlanta. So sure, we looked at the Silicon Valley. Yeah, we looked at Dallas. Yeah, we looked at Boston. But if you're in the fintech space, and we're a big company in the fintech space, home base, ground zero is right here in Atlanta. You've got unbelievable universities. You've got great talent. You've got a global airport, and something that you wouldn't also think we care about, but you also have a great port where we import lots of electronica gear directly into our operation. Georgia is a pretty great place for technology, and First Data is glad to be part of it. Let me talk about mobile commerce. So there's a revolution that's really underway. So let me tell you how we see it. So if you think back in the pre-plastic days when you're writing a check, remember those? Some of you probably still do write checks. You probably write a lot less checks, and I'll tell you, my 13-year-old asked me what that was the other day. It made me very depressed. In the 60s through the 80s, that's when credit cards really started taking off. It wasn't Visa and MasterCard. Way back then, it was a company called Diners Club. We went to magnetic stripe cards from 81 to 95. E-commerce, we call it payments 1.2, which is the point where you move from actually having to swipe your card to be able to do something with a keyboard on the web. That was just, obviously you all know now, that's old history. That was just the beginning. We think we're going to payments 1.3. Actually, we think we're about to pass that, which is chip and pin. Instead of using a magnetic stripe, using a microchip on every card that also can be in the phone. But where we think we're really headed, it's coming at us fast, is something that we call payments 2.0. What that means is that everything, again, goes from your hip pocket to your front pocket, from your leather wallet to your electronic wallet, back pocket to the front pocket. So let's talk about what's changed. There's a couple quick facts here that I think are pretty compelling. 84% of consumers decide what they're going to buy before they walk in the store. Now, for an old consumer product guy like me, that's scary. If you're a P&G guy trying to sell shampoo or deodorant, you want them to come in the store and see what's on special or what's on ad. You don't want them necessarily to walk in and say, I got to buy Pantene shampoo today. But 84% of consumers are deciding the vast majority of their purchases before they walk in the store. Think of your own. Think of your own situation. Do you go to the store to kind of figure out what you're going to buy? Sometimes you do, but most often you've got an idea what you want to buy. 74% of consumers are influenced by social media. Tina talked for a second ago about the influence of social media. Somebody talked about social media. 74% of us are being influenced by social media. Yesterday happened to me on my birthday. It seemed like everybody I ever knew posted on my wall. And the problem with that is that you got to write them all back. But it was nice to hear from people I haven't heard from in 20 years, some college buddies. But social media and your friends' influence on what you think, whether it's a cologne or a shirt or a car or a PC or a phone, is radically influenced now by what your friends think. So your friends used to maybe only talk to you over a dinner or a drink. Now your friends can talk to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and tell you exactly what's on their mind. Yeah, the access to data and social influence is pretty incredible. This stat is actually my all-time favorite. 83% of millennials sleep with their phone. Think about that. How depressing is that, honestly? That you're so lonely that you have to have your phone so you can talk to your friends, and your friends can talk to you in the middle of the night. It's a little depressing, honestly, but it's the truth. The mobile device is so important to the millennial, these people that are 14 to 24. It's the next generation that's coming behind all of us. I don't see very many 14 or 24-year-olds here. It's the ones that are coming behind us that are changing the world. And the mobile phone is at the absolute center of it. So, you've seen all the hype today. The mobile news today, of course, is the iPhone 5 comes out. You would think, we're going to the moon. The media coverage, they're blogging. If you're on the web today at all, they're live blogging. The update, he's going to the stage now. It's a phone, all right? It's important. And if 83% of people are sleeping with their phone, it tells you something. So let's talk get real personal about our business. Our business, we'd only get paid when a consumer buys something. If there's no transaction, I have no way to get paid. That is my business. If you use a card, I get paid. If you get a card, I get paid. If you don't use the card, you don't have a card, I don't have a way to get paid. So having you all spend a lot of money means a whole lot to me. So we want you to go spend and never, ever, ever pay with cash. Always use a credit card. A check if you have to. Now, let's talk about the yesterday today and sort of how the purchase process is changing. Yesterday, it was the classic funnel. If in college or any course you've ever had in marketing, it's you got to have awareness, then you got to get some consideration, you got to trial, and then ultimately get usage. It's like business school 101. That model, we think, is being turned upside down. Actually, we think it's being turned on the side. And instead of being a funnel, we think it's a vortex. And the vortex is all of these things that are driving you towards a decision. It's not one step, I know, now I try, now I buy, because you have lots of ways to try now. You try on your phone, you can try on the web, you can get a sample, and that process of purchase is going to really change. So if we're in the business of getting you to buy stuff, or getting paid when you buy stuff, the biggest thing I got to do is help you buy a lot more. Because if you do that, I win. You've got to create some primary demand. And that's where we think we're going, and that's actually where we think we are today. So we have done a little bit of a video that I think does a nice job, better than I can explain it to you, of thinking about the consumer experience and what it's like to be a consumer today and sort of thinking fast forward. Now for you guys, this may not quite appeal to you as much as it will the ladies, because it's about a shopping experience. But I think it'll be very instructive, and it will give you a good perspective on the world we live in and the world where we're going.
A revolution has begun. It's changing the ways people shop, pay, and live. And it's blurring the lines between in-store commerce, e-commerce, and mobile commerce. Universal commerce is here. And mobile is driving this transformation. Today, nearly 80% of smartphone users use their phones while shopping in-store. Slowly but surely, our phones are becoming our wallets, in more ways than one. By 2015, 2/3 of all purchases will occur on a mobile device. At last, Universal Commerce is creating one seamless experience for the consumer up to the point of sale and beyond. An easier, hassle-free, and more personal experience for consumers, like Anna. It's a time when clipping paper coupons has become obsolete. A time when finding the perfect little black dress is more satisfying than ever. And when fumbling through your wallet is a thing of the past. It's a time when the best deals no longer need to be kept a secret. A time when the perfect shoes know just how to find you. And your evening plans are just a click, bump, or tap away. It's a time when technology can bring unforgettable moments to life. The revolution has begun, and the possibilities are endless. The time is now to lead the way. Consumers aren't waiting. They're in control with more choices than ever, presenting you with endless opportunities. Opportunity for merchants to better connect with consumers and influence their behavior. Opportunity for financial institutions to drive usage of their array of payment options and services. Opportunity for all types of businesses to attract customers when, where, and how they shop. Your potential is unlimited, and First Data's e-commerce solutions can help you realize it. With over 40 years' experience in secure payment processing, we're leading the way with mobile technologies that will forever change the world of commerce. The revolution has begun. Are you ready? First Data. Beyond the transaction.
It's a little different than the way we used to shop yesterday. Actually, it's a lot different. And we think that's what it's really all about. It's about driving to consumer needs. So in this age of universal commerce, you can think about mobile, you can think about in-store, you can think about all the different ways that you can shop and how they may intersect in some ways today. But largely, they're not fully integrated. Mobile, we think, is the way of the future, and we think the mobile device and everything mobile really becomes the hub. So where you saw just a second ago a bunch of circles where they might overlap a little bit, what you see here is that all of the ways that you can interact in commerce are going to have a hub, which is going to be the mobile device. So let's talk about some use cases. So before, you've got to cut coupons. The video showed you a little bit about that. After, it's on your mobile device. I mean, think today, everybody's so excited about Groupon. Groupon is still kind of stuck back there, right? Done a good job. And they've gotten a great market cap by having a great way to talk to customers and know their customer. But you still have to remember to bring the coupon. You still have to print the coupon. You still have to take the coupon in. But it's not all the way in the mobile phone. That's what we think is coming next. If you think about where we are before in loyalty cards, I mean, how many of you pull out your, have you all seen the episode on Seinfeld where the Costanza wallet episode, and he pulls his wallet out and it's about that big because he's got a loyalty card for everybody, he's got a prepaid card for everybody, he's got his driver's license, he's got a whole bunch of stuff. Imagine all that stuff going away and you just have to carry it right there and you catch your loyalty card on the mobile device. 2 more examples. So before you're going shopping on a URL or a QR code, those little funny-looking symbols that you take photos of. And you're doing it at home, and you're trying to figure it out, but now you're at a poster. I will tell you, we did a test market in San Francisco a few years ago where we took a mobile phone, we put in the BART pass, the same thing as MARTA. They call it, theirs is BART, Rapid Transit Pass, and a Jack in the Box, which is a hamburger place, card in the mobile wallet. Consumers didn't go from sort of one, I'll just use it occasionally, I'll use my plastic card, sometimes I'll use my phone the whole time. What happened was 100% of consumers that were in the test moved immediately and 100% to the mobile device. There was no transition period. There was no climbing over the mountain and migrating. They went immediately. One of the interesting things in that test was that we had posters just exactly like this in the BART stations all across San Francisco. They had little NFC chips in them, and it was for, no surprise, Jack in the Box restaurants. And they said, tap your phone here, and the phone would do a browser redirect, open the browser, do a browser redirect, and say, you are within 2 blocks of the nearest Jack in the Box. Go to the top of the stairs, exit the subway, turn left and turn right, and if you come within the next hour, we'll give you free hash browns with your breakfast sandwich. What happens to the Jack in the Box volume goes through the roof. What's the biggest problem in the pilot program? The consumer won't give the phone back when the program is over. It's too easy. Consumers like it too much, and the demand is it's just too big. So how do you get started in this whole area of universal commerce? There's a bunch of things. Offers and deals are going to go there. Payments are going to go there. The slide will catch up to me. Loyalty, rewards, and, of course, notifications of sales and other things are all going to show up in that integrated customer experience on the mobile device. So I've got one more video to show you. And this is a bit more future state. But I think it does a really good job of telling the sort of the final story and putting a bow on this whole notion of what universal commerce can be and what we've all got to pay attention to as we go forward.
This is a story of commerce, how the way we buy is changing. Consumers today want it all. They expect the best deal in the most convenient and personalized way, and to be connected anywhere, all the time. At First Data, we call this universal commerce. For a long time, people didn't have much control over how, when, or where they shopped. They'd visit a store and determine if they were willing to pay the asking price. Then came e-commerce, which brought greater power and choice. Buying online or in a store, however, were initially very different experiences. The more recent emergence of smart, connected mobile devices merged these two worlds and created m-commerce. The convergence of offline shopping and e-commerce through m-commerce has created a new world of universal commerce, where consumers expect a more integrated buying experience that's quick and consistent, wherever they are and at any time. Imagine this. Your neighbor needs to buy a birthday present for his daughter. He gets an email alert with a recommended deal on a jacket. He looks it up, reads reviews online, checks pricing, and places the item with the best price in his virtual shopping cart. Later, as he approaches his local mall while running errands, he gets an alert on his smartphone that one of the stores has the item in stock and will give him a better price if he gets it now. At checkout, he selects his credit card in his mobile wallet and waves to pay using his loyalty points. As he continues his errands, he pulls up the Starbucks app on his phone to order his favorite latte. On his way, he selects his preferred payment method from his phone, and when he arrives, the drink is waiting on the counter and already paid for. He walks past the line, grabs his drink, and leaves, all in under a minute. In a reality of increasing consumer expectations, payments are lagging behind. To become and remain relevant, merchants and financial institutions need to adapt quickly. So how will they keep pace with such rapid change and deliver a completely integrated experience? To make e-commerce a reality, we need 5 ingredients. First, the broad development and adoption of a variety of smart devices that allow consumers to be connected anytime to the things they need and want. Next, a growing ecosystem of partners to develop new, more creative ways to satisfy consumers' needs. New relationships must be forged between merchants, FIs, device manufacturers, application developers, payment networks, and other emerging participants. Everything needs to be integrated virtually with new applications and technologies to deliver a consistent and seamless buying experience for consumers wherever they are. Through this integration, we'll gain actionable intelligence that paves the way for new levels of marketing measurement and targeting to influence and evolve the purchase decision cycle. All this has to plug into an enabling infrastructure that's open and can scale globally while keeping pace with new technology. It has to be secure and function smoothly in order to create an experience that's predictable and personal. The age of universal commerce is already upon us, full of promise and potential. And in a world of endless options, First Data e-commerce solutions can make it all possible.
So hopefully that video, I think, is a nice summary for you of not just the ecosystem around payments, but the entire ecosystem of fintech. If Atlanta is going to be the hub and is the hub of financial technology, that is what our future is going to look like. And we're all going to be about, in some way or other, some piece of making that happen. Because at the end of the day, financial institutions and financial technology are all about enabling consumers to conduct commerce. So I think the video did a good job of giving you the big buckets of what are there. You got to have infrastructure, applications, et cetera. Let's talk about product innovation really quickly. Trusted service management is going to be how the cards get into your wallet. First Data has a solution. We're the exclusive provider for the Google Wallet. So if you have the Google Wallet, you put a credit card in your Google Wallet, it's going into that wallet through First Data technology. Mobile wallets, that's obviously getting everything into that device. One of the big announcements that came out with the iPhone 5 is they have their own version of a wallet. Now, I will tell you it's a pretty basic wallet, but it's the beginning of a wallet, and you know that when Apple gets in the game, you know that you're onto something. The Google Wallet is another version of a wallet. It's on Sprint phones, it's got Citi cards in it, it's got MasterCard, and there's many more coming. ISIS is a joint venture between AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon, and they're trying to be the wallet that holds your information too. Every bank in America is going to try to be the wallet as well, because they want to be able to control what you're doing with your phone, send you the offers, control all those transactions. Tino mentioned a product called Square. If you're not aware of Square, or if you're not aware of a product called Silver, give you guys some NCR little ad. These are just exactly what you see. I don't have a picture of Silver, but Square is a little device that you stick in the top on the telephone jack. I would need to go back. Thank you. That goes on the top of an iPhone or an Android device. It swipes the card. It's got a cool little application. All of a sudden, you've revolutionized the market. And instead of having to have a $1,000 piece of plastic sitting on your counter, you can use the phone you already have. You just have to put a little plug in the top of it, and you're in business. Not a great solution for big merchants. A great solution if you're a plumber, if you're a delivery guy, if you're a babysitter. I had a babysitter recently show up at my house with Square. Great. She also knew that I have no cash, because I never have cash. Intuit has a similar solution. Payware Mobile from Verifone, which is also another Georgia company, although not headquartered here, big operations here, also do similar things. So you cannot see this chart, and I apologize for that, but I don't. The point of the chart is there are big players. First Data is a big player in the space. Bank of America is a big player in today's ecosystem. Wells Fargo is a big player in today's ecosystem. These are all of the people that I can squeeze onto a page, and there's many, many, many more that want to be in the ecosystem, and they want to play. It's a big ecosystem. There's hundreds of billions of dollars at stake. All of those companies want in the space. The good news, if you're a fintech company, like a lot of us in the room, that represents opportunity. The flip side of that is it's also a threat. But one of the things that Tino said really well is competition makes everybody better. So by having all these guys trying to come in, you know what, it makes all of us better. I hope a lot of those companies will choose to be in Georgia, but if they're not, we'll just have to beat them and we'll help the ones in Georgia succeed. So that is our story about what's happening in mobile commerce. What we think is actually bigger than mobile commerce. We think it's this notion of e-commerce, which encompasses everything about a transaction and how a consumer buys. The notion of universal commerce. I think I've got another minute or two for a Q&A. Does anybody have a question? Otherwise, I will sit down and let you go on. Yes?
You talk about the millennial generation. They probably have a distrust in banking. What do you see a trend in like sort of the big banks? Do you see things like simple banking or any of those sort of, what do you see there?
So it's a great question. And for those of you that you couldn't hear it, the question was that generation, the millennial generation, seems to have maybe more distrust or definitely less loyalty to the financial ecosystem. And what does that mean? That, first of all, it's absolutely true. If you talk to the people in the millennial generation, they don't value their relationship with the bank the way all of us do. Actually, they find their relationship with the bank irrelevant, which if I were a banker, I'd be concerned about. But they think it's irrelevant. They think their relationship with Visa or MasterCard on the front of the card is irrelevant. All they know is that if they've got a card, the card works. They don't really know whose name is on it, what brand is on it. It just works because that's the way it's always been for them. The biggest shift, though, that's happening with those millennials is that an increasing percentage of that population is moving from traditional banking to prepaid banking. So you can walk into a Walgreens, a CVS, Kroger, and you can buy a bank account on a J-hook. You can walk in there and you get a prepaid card. It's got a Visa logo on it. It may say Vanilla Visa. It might say ABC Visa. It might say whatever. And you can deposit money into that account. You can send them your check. You can put money on the account. You just use it like you've got a bank account, but you don't have a bank account. You have a prepaid account that you got on a J-hook at a CVS store. If you're a banker, you'd probably be concerned about that. So the banks are not going to go away. Let's be clear. Banks are not they're not going away, but they have an increasingly difficult challenge to focus on that, the millennial generation. The mobile phone makes it obviously much worse. Any other questions? Yes?
How do you deal with the, as you get more convenience, you also get more risk. So I can put all my credit cards, my social security number, my driver's license, if I put all that into a device,
right.
That's all being transmitted over the airwaves,
yep.
Mobily. I mean, how do you overcome that resistance, and who takes responsibility for that risk? Is it the consumer or?
Yep. So I'll ask the question back to you in a different way. Who takes the risk on your leather wallet?
True.
You do, right? If you lose your leather wallet and it's got your driver's license and all your credit cards in it and the cash, you have to call everybody and their brother to get those cards turned off, go to get a new driver's license. You got to do it all. In the future state, you're going to make one call. You're going to call your mobile phone operator. You're going to say, AT&T, I lost my phone, turn it off. They're going to turn it off and not just turn off your phone, they're going to turn off your wallet. You're going to walk into an AT&T store, say, I'm Barry McCarthy, my phone got lost or stolen, I need a new phone. They're going to give you a new phone. You're going to say, oh, and would you put my stuff back on it? And you're going to walk out with a wallet and a phone and your life back in one stop. As far as security over the air, lots of people are working on that, trying to secure the airwaves and make sure that data is encrypted. I would tell you that the bad guys are always going to find a way, that they're always going to find a way. Our job, collectively, is to always be one step ahead. And I feel pretty good about where we are as far as one step ahead today. We just got to keep going, just like we do in the physical world, right? The bad guys can corrupt a credit card file really easily. You've read all the stories about hack attacks and how big companies have had data compromises. That's not going to stop. We just got to keep investing and staying ahead of it.
So you see the phone companies actually storing profile then almost like an image.
Okay, so now you're on. So now you're on a religious war with the carriers and the technology companies, and I'm not going to tell you which side of that. Wait, I'm on everybody's side on that. Okay. There's two ways this can work. One is that the data is stored remotely on a handset with an image in the cloud. The other example is that there's no distributed database of any kind, and it's all in the cloud, and the device calls the cloud for information when it's needed. I guess the third model would be, the third debate is where that information, if we're going to be distributed, where it would be stored. Is it going to be in a special secure element? Is it going to be on another chip? Is it going to be where is it going to be on the phone? I don't know how that's going to play out. These wallet providers all have different models. The Google wallet is a distributed and cloud storage model. ISIS, I believe, is going to be a cloud model, but they haven't even gotten a test market yet. And I think each one of the other, Sprint has a wallet too. I mean, they're all trying different things to see what is the best option. But I think that at some level, there's going to be replicated data someplace to provide that duplication. Any other questions? Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be a universal acceptance, like, we accept just phone, transactions, or is it going to be like we accept Visa, MasterCard, and Discover, but not American Express? Like, is it going to be universal?
So it's a great question. I would tell you, I don't have a crystal ball, but I would tell you what I think it's going to look like. I think it's going to look like having point-of-sale devices. You saw them in the videos that using NFC near-field technology, where you're actually tapping the phone, not swiping something, and they're doing very, very short distance, 4 millimeters or less transmission of radio information between the handset and the card reader. I think that is the likely way of the future. It may take us a couple generations of phones to get there, but that's what I think, and I think where we're going. Another question?
What do you think is going to be the biggest driver of personalization in terms of like offers, coupons, and such?
Well, I can tell you what I hope it is. It's a little self-serving, but I think that what's going to drive it is when you have enough merchants that are making offers to make it compelling enough for you as a consumer to want to be engaged regularly in the offer program. If you're engaged today in Groupon, the problem with Groupon is you can only get so many spray tans, right? I mean, you can only have so many manicures. It only gets you so far, right? Are you golf or you tennis player? What do you do? Okay, you're a basketball player. So but somebody could get you an offer on, the next great basketball game, the next new ball, the next great shoes, whatever it is that was interesting to you, you'd probably pay a whole lot more attention to it. And then if it was tied to the store that's close to you, you shop at Sports Authority instead of Dick's, you probably start to get really targeted and start to care an awful lot more. The way that's going to happen is somebody has to provide the infrastructure to connect all the dots, most especially the point-of-sale infrastructure to accept all those offers electronically so you don't have to keep pulling paper out. And another time I can tell you about that, but that's exactly what First Data is doing, is bringing offer infrastructure to the point of sale across our massive merchant base. Last question. Yes?
From a consumer perspective, what kind of costs is it going to add to this? For a transaction, as a consumer, will I pay more than what I'm doing with my leather wallet?
I don't think so.
There's so many people interested in being your wallet, right?
Yeah, I don't think the consumer is going to pay on this. The consumer doesn't pay for anything anymore. We are cheap. The merchant that's going to get you to come to their store is going to pay. So if there's an offer that gets you to the store to get that spray tan, that merchant is really happy to probably spend 10 or 20% of the value of that deal to get you there. So they'll give you that as a discount. They'll give it to whoever delivers the offer, et cetera. All right, thank you very much.